W5 returns this week with an hour-long special investigating an investigation of the murder of a 23-year-old Canadian woman at a Mexican resort 3 years ago. Her boyfriend, who was found sleeping next to her body, was charged and found not guilty, and her family continues to fight for justice. CTV's National News Investigative Unit W5 returns with a haunting hour-long special, If I'm Ever Found Dead, airing on CTV, the W5 YouTube channel, and streaming on Crave tomorrow at 7 p.m. Let's bring in W5's host and managing editor, Avery Haynes, for more on this haunting story. Good morning to you, Avery.
Good morning, Will.
I appreciate you spending some time with us this morning. What were the circumstances of this murder?
Well, Kiera Agnew and her boyfriend, Ryan Friesen, were traveling to Mexico to celebrate her 24th birthday. They checked into the five-star resort at Playa del Carmen, and 12 hours later, she was found beaten to death in the laundry room. And as you mentioned, he was found laying beside her. He was immediately arrested. His hands were swollen. He had blood embedded in his fingernails. He was charged with femicide. And the case now that we began investigating followed the not guilty verdict because her family had been told that they believed it was a clear-cut case, that he would be found guilty. And they've been launching protests, some of those family members, across the country ever since that not guilty verdict in 2024.
And you just mentioned there, Ryan Friesen was charged with femicide, and the family was told about the strength of the case. What was his defense?
So his defense was that his lawyer presented expert evidence that his DNA was not found, her DNA rather, was not found under her fingernails, but that there was unknown DNA found under her fingernails. And also that the injuries that she sustained were too great for one person to have committed the crime. Now, the prosecutor presented evidence, including testimony from Kiera's family members, that she had been subjected to domestic violence in their relationship before Mexico. Entered into evidence also was her diary, which described her allegations of beatings that she had suffered at the hands of Ryan Friesen in their relationship before they went to Mexico.
And Avery, you went back to the scene of the crime and even spoke to a member of the cartel to test Ryan Friesen's claim. What did you find out while you were there?
Right, so one of the things that his defense lawyers and Ryan Friesen says is that there were 3 or 4 people involved in the murder of Kiera Agnew, and raised the theory that it was cartel-related violence. Now, we know that that resort is in Playa del Carmen. That Cancun area is a hotbed for cartels. The Sinaloa cartel is in control for the most part of that region. And so I spoke to a longtime member of the Sinaloa cartel and asked him about this theory that is it possible that the Sinaloa cartel or another cartel would have used an innocent victim on a resort as a message for a resort not paying a cartel tax? He said absolutely not, that sometimes tourists do get caught up in cartel violence. That's generally if they're caught in the crossfire or if they're involved in the cartel for some reason, but he said that is not the way the cartel does business.
Yeah, and some of Kiera's family members have held protests ever since the verdict demanding justice for Kiera. Is that even possible since Ryan Friesen was found not guilty back in 2024?
Well, before I went to Mexico to begin investigating, I would have said no, probably not. Mexico has double jeopardy laws, just like Canada does. If you're found not guilty, you can't be charged again for the same crime. But as I was there and went to a press conference, a weekly press conference that's put on by the prosecutor's office, the military, the police, and asked some questions, the answers that they gave me make it very clear that this case is not over. And you'll know more about that when you watch the doc on Saturday night.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously a lot of people will be tuning into that. Avery, really appreciate you taking some time with us, giving us guidance on what you've had so far.
Thank you so much, Will.
And you can watch W5's newest investigation, If I'm Ever Found Dead, on CTV and on Crave tomorrow night. You can start that at 7 p.m.